The following slides will define invasive species overall and specifically invasive plants. In this slide are 3 invasive plants that are regularly seen throughout St. Lucie County. From left to right is air potato, Brazilian pepper, and Australian pine. For more information regarding these and other invasive plants throughout this slideshow, visit the Invasive Plant Atlas of the United States at invasiveplantatlas.org. We often hear the words invasive species followed by disturbing reports of pesky mosquitoes, predatory lionfish, and intimidating reptiles such as Burmese pythons, Nile monitor lizards, and Argentinian tegus. These invasive species attract a lot of media attention because they are frightening, they are detrimental to Florida's wildlife, and they continue to expand both in population size and into new areas. But did you know that invasive plants can be just as menacing? While invasive plants don't physically behave in the same ways, they do have negative impacts on Florida. What is an invasive species? Executive Order 13112 defines invasive species as species that are non-native or alien to the ecosystem under consideration and whose introduction causes or is likely to cause economic or environmental harm or harm to human health. Invasive species can be plants, animals, or pathogens. It is important to know and understand the expressions that are used to describe plants and the definition of these terminologies. These definitions are provided by the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Natural Resources Conservation Service. A native plant is a plant that is part of the balance of nature that has developed over hundreds or thousands of years in a particular region or ecosystem. An invasive plant is a plant that is non-native and able to establish on many sites, grow quickly, and spread to the point of disrupting plant communities or ecosystems. A non-native plant or alien plant, these terms may be used interchangeably, are plants that were introduced with human help, intentionally or accidentally, to a new place or new type of habitat where it was not previously found. An exotic plant is a plant not native to the continent on which it is now found. For example, plants from Europe are exotic in North America, while plants from North America are exotic in Japan. A weed is a plant, native or non-native, that is not valued in the place where it is growing and poses a major threat to agriculture and/or natural ecosystems within the United States. A noxious weed or noxious plant are any plants or plant products that can directly or indirectly injure or cause damage to crops, including nursery stock or plant products, livestock, poultry, or other interests of agriculture, irrigation, navigation, the natural resources of the U.S., and public health or the environment. Note that the USDA APHIS maintains a list of federally recognized noxious weeds. It is illegal to import federally listed noxious weeds or transport them across state lines. Some states, for instance Florida, and/or some counties, for instance St. Lucie County, maintain lists and have passed laws regarding responsibilities for their control. Visit freshfromflorida.com for the Florida Noxious Weeds Rule 5B-57. Regulations regarding St. Lucie County will be addressed in the next slideshow. All exotic plants are not invasive. In fact, only a small percent of introduced species ever become invasive. For example, according to the University of Florida's Center for Aquatic and Invasive Plants, there are approximately 1,400 non-native plants in Florida. About 11% of those have become established and are either invasive or becoming problematic. Some species are present for many years before they exhibit invasive characteristics. Many invasive species go through a period known as a lag phase in which their populations grow slowly until they reach a size large enough for the population to explode and/or become adapted to the local environment and become invasive. An example of this lag phase is with Melaleuca. Melaleuca was first introduced to Florida in the late 1880s. After several more introductions in the state and numerous distribution of seeds and saplings in the early 1900s, there was evidence that Melaleuca was escaping cultivation and becoming naturalized in Florida by the mid-1920s. By 1993, it was estimated that Melaleuca covered nearly 500,000 acres in South Florida and colonized up to 20% of all natural land south of Lake Okeechobee.